Shohei Ohtani recently signed a 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers. The contract is unprecedented, with Ohtani taking $2 million a year through the duration of the contract and deferring the remaining $680 million to be paid at the end over a 10-year span. This allows the Dodgers to retain payroll flexibility and sign and pay other stars while being competitive over the long run. Some say this is an act of genius by Ohtani and his agents who, due to his status as a global icon, can essentially afford to take just $2 million a year due to making an estimated $40 million a year on endorsements. However, from a business perspective, this contract poses several issues to the fairness of the game. To be clear, while baseball doesn't have a hard salary cap, it has a luxury tax threshold. The $2 million a year Ohtani makes does not count simply as $2 million towards that threshold, but closer to $46 million a year based on a figure known as the Competitive Balance Tax, or CBT. The CBT is how the league determines whether a team has gone over the luxury tax threshold. Still, the cap hit of $46 million a year is far lower than $70 million a year, which is the annual average value of the contract over a 10-year term. When Ohtani hit the market, most experts and journalists tried to determine which team he'd go to based on how well they had budgeted for a player of Ohtani's cost, likely using an annual average figure of $50 to $60 million a year. As a result, experts looked to teams with payroll flexibility and traditionally smart business planning, such as the Giants, Dodgers, and Blue Jays. However, by essentially spreading the money across a 10-year period and utilizing the CBT figure in their calculations, the Dodgers have far more leverage than expected despite already having the league's highest payroll. One can say this is smart business planning, but it's not the smart business planning that we're used to, where a team manages its payroll judiciously to be able to afford players that cost a significant amount each year based on their expected annual average pay. How this changes the business of baseball is to be seen, but strategic planning from a team building perspective isn't likely to change unless rules are implemented within baseball's collective bargaining agreement in 2026. Baseball has plenty of blue blood teams like the Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, and Dodgers who have routinely controlled the free agent market. But that doesn't necessarily equate to wins. The Mets have mostly always been a disaster, and the Yankees and Red Sox finished last in the division in 2023. The Dodgers have been in an incredible run in the last few years. But despite having the largest payroll and a great farm system, they only have one World Series win to show for their efforts. Baseball is a sport where the slightly lesser-known teams can and do routinely win, like the Astros, Braves, Giants, Phillies, Rays, and others. And this is because those teams develop players and spend intelligently. 2023 is a great example where the Rangers and Diamondbacks made the World Series, two teams that lost 100 games just 2 years ago. But now more than ever, a team's potential capability on the field is less important. Instead, it's all about brand value, which a team like the Dodgers has. In fact, the Giants indicated they offered a similar deal to the Dodgers for Ohtani, but they never seemed to be fully in the picture since their brand value can't really be on the same level as the Dodgers, at least in recent years. In the end, brand value still reigns supreme, and that cuts away at the parity that baseball has enjoyed for the most part to this point. Baseball is the ultimate team sport. In fact, Ohtani's time with the Angels is a perfect example. The Angels had the two best players, maybe ever, in Ohtani and Trout, and could never win due to an inept pitching staff and key injuries. No single player can really control the game like they do in the NBA or the way a quarterback does in football. But Ohtani showed us that maybe the game is changing and that star power is far more important than the business of winning. Ohtani, because of his tremendous endorsement money at $40 million a year, can essentially choose how he structures his contracts, regardless of a team's ability to pay in the short term. The effects of Shohei's new contract are still to be seen. It's not likely that other players will be able to defer payments to the degree that he has, but it's possible that more deferments do end up taking place. Likely the biggest impact we will see is on competitiveness across the league. With smart business planning no longer being as important, teams finding ways to manage payroll by using CBT, the big clubs will probably grow stronger, with small markets continuing to lose share and competitiveness in the long run.